Hey guys, welcome back to the Daily Lessons. This is Yusha. This is episode number 4 in the podcast. Now, just a friendly reminder, if you are enjoying this content, make sure to hit that like button and hit subscribe as well. I'm not asking you to do anything else, right? I'm not asking for an arm or a leg. That's all you got to do. It's super easy. Just do it, get it out of the way, and then enjoy this video because this video, I think it's going to be a really good one as well. Today, we're going to be talking about failure and why exactly it hurts us all so much, right? Now, before we get into that though, I want to tell you a story, okay? And I think that this is a story that basically everybody has endured, right? So here it is, all right? I want you to visualize this. I want you to imagine this properly, okay? Imagine this. You've had a rough day. Your boss yelled at you and nothing was going great at work at all. You were just messing up every single thing that you can possibly mess up at, okay? People were on your way back home. You were driving and you almost got into an accident because of somebody else, and it was just a terrible drive overall. People just forgot how to drive, right? You come home, you thought you had food in the fridge, you thought you had some leftovers from your favorite restaurant, but unfortunately they're bad, or you just don't have any food, right? Now, imagine this. You're just stressing about all these different things, right? And on top of that, just the cherry on top is you stub your toe on the coffee table, right? Now, just visualize that, think about it, and make sure that it's in the back of your head, okay? We're going to come back to that, okay? Now, let's talk about failure, okay? Now, first of all, I want to say failure is not necessarily always a bad thing, okay? Failure is also a very good thing as well. Failure, all it means is that you are actually trying at something, okay? If you are going to be good at something, you need to fail as well. Nobody ever got calculus on their first try, right? Maybe you did. Maybe you're a genius prodigy, but 90% of the population, they're not ever good at something right away. They need to put in the time and the work and the effort that goes into perfecting any craft. And there's a lot of failures that go with that, right? I want to talk about the reason why failures hit us so hard is because we end up not processing the failures that happened when they happen. So, for example, you fail at something, and our tendency as human beings is to always just brush off negative emotions, right? We always try to brush off any negativity that we feel, any sadness that we feel, any anxiety that we feel, any insecurity that we feel, and any sense of failure that we feel as well. We're always going to try to just brush it off, and we're going to try to put it in the distance or just stay away from it, right? Obviously, it's a good coping mechanism until it's not, essentially, right? The reason why failures hurt us so much and they keep on multiplying in our lives, and we start to tell ourselves that, man, we're really not good at anything, is because we don't process the failures when they actually happen in the first place. Okay. What do I mean when I say process your failure, right? Do we ever look back and we analyze like, hey, this is exactly what I did wrong, and if I didn't do this, then I wouldn't have failed at this. Okay, cool. Let me try something new. We typically, I think 95% of the population, we end up not doing that. And the reason why we obviously don't do that is because we hate feeling like shit. And who doesn't, right? We don't like thinking about the failures that we had in the past or potentially failing in the future as well. Nobody likes that. It's not an easy thing to do. It's terrible. It's terrifying as well. But what this ends up doing is that we have the sense of failing and this thing or this event that we have failed at, but we haven't processed it properly. So what it does is that it's still there because we haven't thought about it in such a long time. And then the next thing that we try to do and we end up failing at that as well, it kind of just accumulates together. It kind of becomes one thing when it should have been two separate things. So two small things become one big thing for us, right? Two small failures that it was just a small failure. It becomes one big failure. And what we end up telling ourselves is that, man, we're not good for anything. Oh my God, anything that I try to do, I'm always a loser at it. I'm not going to be good at anything. I cannot master this craft. I'm never going to be good at basketball or football or math or writing or anything that you potentially want to actually succeed at. You keep on telling yourself that you're not good for anything and that you're going to fail at it. So might as well just not try. And obviously, I'm going to go into a later episode as well on why self-talk is important to yourself as well. But that's okay. That's a story for another day. Right now, it's about failure. So how do you solve this problem? How do you solve the problem of not letting the failures accumulate and turn into like one big avalanche snowball of failure that's just going to hit you directly, right? All at once. How do you stop that? Well, number one, like I alluded to before, is that we need to process our failures, okay? If a failure happens, then you need to make sure that you're reflecting back on it and why exactly it happened. Like what decisions, what events led to this failure of yours, right? You need to be self-aware for this, of course, but you also need to just ask yourself the proper questions as well. And I think the number one question that everybody needs to ask themselves is if they gave it their all, okay? Let's say, for example, you want to become the next LeBron James, right? Outside of the genetic anomaly that is LeBron James, just think about the amount of effort that he has put in and the time that he has put into playing and perfecting the art of basketball. Have you done the same? If your answer is no, then you already know why you failed, right? If you're not willing to put in the effort, the time, the energy into something, then you already know why you failed, right? And that's majority of the times, that's the reason why a lot of people fail as well. That's the reason why I fail a lot as well, right? The reason why I fail is because I don't give it my all, but then I end up feeling bad about my failure. Like, what did I expect, right? I should have expected failure because I wasn't giving it my all. I was giving like 5% to this certain task, which I thought that was going to be easy, but it ended up not being easy, right? And I think a lot of people deceive themselves in doing that as well. So number one, obviously, to analyze your failure, make sure that you are actually putting in the right amount of time, effort, energy, money, whatever you need to do to actually give yourself the best chances of succeeding. Because never will you do something where your success rate is 100%, and never will you do something where your failure rate is also 100%. It's always somewhere in the middle, right? It just sometimes matters a lot about effort. It has a lot to do with luck as well, and just the opportunity if it presents itself to you. Okay, so that's number one. You got to try harder, to be honest with you, right? Now, you need to learn how to compartmentalize your different failures as well, right? The reason why you need to do this is literally goes back down to the story that I was telling in the beginning, is that so whenever you stub your toe on the coffee table, it is not the straw that breaks the camel's back. It is not the reason why you are crying. And everybody knows that nobody cries over the stubbed toe unless it really does hurt. I mean, I can picture people crying over this. I can picture myself crying over a stubbed toe as well because it is painful. But I'm saying in principle, you're not necessarily crying over the stubbed toe. You're crying over the accumulation of failures that you had throughout the day. You had a terrible day at work. You almost got into a car crash. While on your way home, right? You thought you had food at home, but you don't. And now you stubbed your toe and the world is ending, okay? That is why you need to compartmentalize your failures. You need to tell yourself that just because you are bad at one thing or maybe several things does not mean that you're always going to be bad at them. And it does not mean that you're always going to be bad at every single thing that you do. You might feel like that in the moment, but I promise you it is not the case. Okay, I hope this helps. It's one of the reasons why I think failures hurt, because we don't ever process our failures and we keep on just living our life without actually thinking about like, did I really like try my best and why did I fail, right? So ask yourself those questions, think about it, analyze it, and I promise you, you're probably going to level up because of it, because of your analytical skills from your own self-reflection that you're doing, okay? And make sure to hit that like button. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. If you're on Spotify, please just do me a favor, leave a rating, leave a 5-star rating for my podcast. I really appreciate it. I'm not asking for anything, and hopefully in the future, I don't ask for anything other than this, other than your support either. I appreciate you watching. I appreciate you listening as well. Thank you, everybody. This was episode 4 of the Daily Lessons. Make sure to tell a friend about this as well. All right, everybody. I hope you have a great day. Bye.